All right, welcome everyone. This is day three of the AI-powered personal branding workshop series, and today we're going to be talking about actually starting the networking and content production. Now, yesterday, if you were part of the workshop, I showed you how to write genuine articles through AI using your brand voice and using kind of research components that could help you build authority in whatever space that you're in. Now, going further back than that, on day one, we actually started with your brand vision, and then we also started with your brand system. And the brand system is really just a way of, producing a framework around who you are, what you do, what you're trying to accomplish, in a way that people can understand. Because if you just say like, I'm an authority and you should listen to me, it's not going to work. People like to see that you have a system, that you've put the time and effort into thinking about who you are, what you do, who you serve, what the problem is that you're solving, and how you solve it. So that's all what the brand system is. Then on day two, we got further into your brand pillars. And again, I'll be sharing the links to all these previous days, so go ahead and check them out. But each one of these workshops should be useful just by itself. Just know that if you don't spend any time, kind of figuring out your brand, we're the AI Branding Academy, then you're missing the point. Because what's going to happen is you're going to create a new brand every time you launch a project. Okay, now I'm going to be doing this, so I'm all about this, and then that's just going to live on its own. And then I'm launching this service, and I'm all about this service, and then that's going to live on its own. And what I realized after doing this kind of stuff for like 20 years is that none of it's effective unless it's all connected. And that's really what branding is. It's the ability to recognize the system in every single thing that you do. That way, every single thing that you do leads back to all the other stuff that you do. And then now you have a brand. And again, this is this is not an easy process if you don't define the brand first, because then you're kind of reaching like, how do all these things I do connect? And then you end up confused. And if you're confused, there's no way that your target market is also not confused. They are going to be confused. They don't know who you are, and they don't know what you're all about. And if you're wondering like, is this me? Am I confusing? Probably, because unless somebody that has really just met you, well, there's two groups. There's the people who just met you. If they can't figure out what you do, then you're definitely confusing. And then there's the people who know you. If they can't figure out what you do, you're definitely confusing. And for the longest time, I've had periods of my life where I was like that, where even my wife is like, I don't even know what you do. I'm like, I'm not doing a good job branding. So again, go through the first couple days, because that's where we really define the brand. What we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to make a content series. And then I always recommend, and you're going to hear this from me a lot, so it's going to get boring, but you need to have your own website. Because if you don't have your own platform, the only thing you're accomplishing with a lot of the activities that you do online to promote yourself are promoting somebody else's brand. You're promoting Facebook, you're promoting Instagram, you're promoting LinkedIn, you're promoting YouTube, you're promoting Google. That's what you're doing if you don't try to pull people back in to your privatized network or your privatized following. And when I use that term, when I talk about privatization, all I'm saying is that you have to have that direct connection with your audience. Otherwise, it's dangerous is what it is, because I don't know if you're old enough like me. You went through the period where Facebook actually generated organic traffic. It actually generated organic followings, and it was actually a super useful tool. And then they said, hey, we can make money off of this. And then it turned into this whole corrupted system of control and manipulation of your audience and just money for them. Where it was like, okay, now if you want to succeed on any of these networks, you better spend those bucks, because we only care about people who spend money. So this is why, and this is not something new. I've been talking about this for at least a decade, probably longer, because I could see it. I was in SEO. I was in these different marketing games. And I found that, man, who cares about any of this? Because the only people who are actually making money and actually building brand value are the platforms themselves, the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Metas and Instagram. You could say whatever companies these are. They're all just individual brands, but that's who's getting the value of it. And it's not just from the content that you're posting, the pictures, the videos, the articles, all these different aspects. It's actually the data that they're collecting on both you and your audience and the behaviors of both parties. That's the real value that they're getting, and they're monetizing, and they're selling it back to us. So it's just terrible. So, anyways, diatribe on the current situation of how digital marketing works. But this all comes back to building your personal brand value. And your personal brand value has to be owned by you. And the only way it's going to be owned is if you're the one, posting the content and owning the content. Now, further, for the academy, what we're eventually going to do is try to teach people how to create tangible and calculatable brand value through NFTs. And this is where the whole Web3 component comes in. If you're confused about Web3, you're not alone. Just continue to try to understand, and eventually you'll get it. It took me like 2 years to really get a real understanding of what Web3 is. But just even if you don't get it, just know that it's good for the people. It's good for the average business owner. It's good for the average person because we're distributing how brand value is calculated rather than the centralized kind of system that we have today. Again, confusing stuff. It's very important though, and it's all still related to personal brand value, which is really what I want to promote for everyone, because I think it's the only way we're going to get back to reality when it comes to what things are actually worth and who should be owning them. We should be owning them, not Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos or any of these big jerks that have used their greed to control the world. Anyways, all right, so let's get into it. So today we're talking about what I call the content evolution strategy. I'm going to describe the strategy, and then I'm going to show you how it's executed. We are going to be using LinkedIn, even though I just blasted all the big guys, because I'm assuming you don't have necessarily the capability to build your own platform. Get to work on it though, make a website, use Wix, use whatever you want. Just have a website and just make sure you're posting there at least as often as you're posting on social media. But let's get into it. So share my screen here. I was checking out my LinkedIn performance. This is the last year, and you can see here where I said, like, you know what, I don't care about LinkedIn last fall, and then I was like, you know what, let me try really hard, and this is where I was posting probably daily, and you can see, yeah, the numbers were up there, but I didn't get much business from it. So it's more just like a credibility generator for my business, but you could use it however you want. Just know that it's like any other system where if you're not working the system, it's probably not going to work. So, that's just how the world works. The energy, where you put your energy goes, the money and the attention flows. Lots of people have said that, but it's totally true. So nothing works that you're not working on is really the point. Let's just start with the framework. So the framework is something I created after developing content for 20 years. It's called the content evolution strategy, and I'll go ahead and give you a link to this so you can see it. Now, the reason why I write everything down is because I really want you to use the data with AI to figure out whatever you want. Because honestly, if you said, and I'm going to show you how to do that, if I just copied this definition for content evolution strategy, if I wanted to utilize it and I don't want to say watch Mark talk a bunch, you could just come in here. I'm going to open up ChatGPT and I'm going to say, please analyze the following content strategy, then produce a 7-day activity schedule to help me promote my personal brand based on what you know about me from my previous chats. So now this does assume that you're using ChatGPT quite a bit. I use it in every area of my life. I've shared so much content now that I don't really care about my own privacy. So I talk to ChatGPT a lot. And so it knows a ton about who I am. I'm going to go ahead and put this chat or this into the chat. So if you copy and paste this in here, oh, it's too big. Sorry. One second. I'll create a page for this. I just haven't done yet. Go to docs, I'll call this prompt. We'll just call this personal brand strategy prompt. Paste that in there, share. Anyone with link, copy link, and here you go. Okay, so there's the prompt. And again, it does assume that you use ChatGPT quite a bit, but that's all you really need. So I'm going to go and put that in there and say go. And now this is just the quick version. I'm going to do a little bit more detailed version based on the previous information that we created in the other workshops. But it gives you an idea of how to do this and why I put so much information on the website. I want you to copy and paste it into AI, and then it'll customize it for you. So let's see what it came up with. All right, thanks for sharing the content evolution strategy. It's a solid, strategic, and flexible framework that aligns well with your AI branding approach, storytelling orientation, and your goal of thought leadership. Quick analysis. You're a visionary strategist building a thought leadership brand grounded in AI branding and marketing ethics. You need evergreen content, flexibility, structured systems, and a personal brand that integrates storytelling, innovation, and consistent voice. This strategy nails it. What's especially perfect for you, the use of content series mirrors your love for epic storytelling. Content splintering works for your preference to create one deep idea, then expand it into useful formats, and independence from performance marketing fits your preference for brand first content with optional adaptability for campaigns. Now, this is just for me. Yours will generate something completely different. Just know that this is just to get you going on the concept of content, because content to date has really been centered on SEO, which is then centered on Google and Google's stupid algorithm. And I call it stupid because there's so much good content out there, and it just doesn't find it because it doesn't fit with its monetary, approach to content. So what I want you to do instead is use this. It gets you out of that mindset of how do I optimize for a keyword phrase that my audience is looking up very often. That's so simplistic and dumb, which is why I created this kind of stuff. It makes you bigger. I don't care about one keyword phrase. Now you should optimize, for the audience, but I want you optimizing for the audience's preferences and what they need to learn first, not some stupid keyword that Google thinks people should be looking up. Anyways, sorry. So this gets you out of the mindset, gets you into, I want to educate my audience. I want to connect with my audience. I want to provide value for the problem that I'm solving. Okay, so here's the 7-day personal brand activity schedule that it created for me. Day 1, Monday, ideation session and core theme setup. Define this week's content series and prep for multi-format execution. Morning, choose a series topic. Write 5 to 7 titles or angles, mini episodes for this week's series. Align each one to a pillar of your personal brand. Output, Google Doc or Notion board with titles, core message per title, and intended format. Day 2, create flagship content. Record a 10-minute podcast episode or short video expanding on episode 1 of your content series. Use the script to create blog post draft, pull quotes for social media, outline for a LinkedIn post. Wednesday, splinter and distribute. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this is really creating the content strategy on week 1, and then getting into it. But you'll notice that it all kind of revolves around the concept of a content series. And a content series is really the basis of the strategy, where we're not saying like, hey, we're just going to make a one-off piece of content. Blah, let's see what people do. Let's wait for Google to index it, and oh God, even talking about it bores the crap out of me. No, I want to post it online. I want to share it with my community. I want to find out if this is something that interests people. And then I'm not just going to do it once, because that's usually the problem people have with content, where they're like, oh, I spent a month writing an article and then I posted and nobody connected with it. It's like, don't do that. That's a waste of time. Make a content series. A content series is saying, okay, I want to make a piece of content that can be expanded on if it hits. But the fact of the matter is that nobody's going to just connect with one piece of content. They need multiple impressions. And then when they finally do click on the content, you want to make sure that there's other content that's related to it. This is how you generate subscribers. You don't generate subscribers from one awesome piece. And I know this because I worked with a lot of companies that did that. They had one good piece of content. One person I work with actually had a YouTube video that had 1.5 million views on it. 1.5 million views. I've never had a video that had that many views. And he had 60 subscribers on YouTube. Why is that? Why didn't he have a million subscribers? He has a viral hit. It's because there's no other related content. It doesn't matter if you have a viral hit. People only subscribe to stuff after they've seen that it matches what they want over and over again. Then they're like, okay, this is a familiar format. This is a familiar topic. This is a familiar delivery that I really enjoy. And now I'm going to become a subscriber. That's how you get subscribers. It's why, most of these algorithms really feed into people who constantly post. And when I say constantly, I mean like TikTok expects you to post like 3 to 6 times a day. They want you to do a 10 to 20 minute live every day. They only want to give you subscribers if you feed the system. And so that's how that works. Anyways, I'm going off on tangents. Let's go ahead and put this into effect. So basically, if you use that prompt I just gave you, you can build a content strategy really solid. But what we want to do now is we want to get into what we built yesterday, where basically we created a project on Claude. You do need a Claude Pro account for this. And again, I use Claude because it writes really well. And it's able to copy my style of writing better than ChatGPT. You could use ChatGPT. If you're using ChatGPT, go and check out the episode yesterday. And then what you'll do is instead of doing projects, I always forget who calls it a project. They all have like the same names. It's so funny. Anyways, here's a project. You can do the same process that I taught you on Claude yesterday in ChatGPT if you want. You'll just use the projects function instead of the projects function over here. But you get the idea. Okay, so let's see. We have the Mark DeGrasse article writer demo. So this is what we set up yesterday. And we wrote the predictable path to SEO. And this is, of course, connected to my fictitious SEO offering. I don't have an SEO offering because I think SEO is kind of a dead concept. But that's what the project was. And I trained the AI. So again, if this is just a quick review of what we did yesterday, I gave it my personal brand pillars. I gave it a expanded personal brand voice. I gave it one core example. And then I gave it a standard article structure. And again, this is, you can go and check out yesterday. What we're trying to do is we're not just saying, hey, here's my brand voice, write some content. We're like, no, we want to get deeper than that. We want to make sure that, the actual article structure, like how many headlines are there? How is the call to action handled? How is the introduction handled? All these aspects are still aspects of branding. And if you forget to do them, you're missing potentials for impression. And this is again a bigger view of what branding means, because it's not just about even your brand voice. It's about how you present the information, and that's also brand. It's all branding. Everything you do is branding. Okay, so now we have our concept here, or we have our article writing demo. Again, if you want to go the easy route, with this strategy, you could say, I want to write my first series. Please give me 5 options that align with the strategy you've created. Awesome. Here are 5 powerful content series options. Okay, that future is branded building with AI from the ground up. Prompts like a pro, AI prompt frameworks for marketers. Podcast power moves from idea to influence. That's interesting to me. I do have a podcast that I've been talking about a lot called Dads in Autism Land. Let's see, the AI branding framework breakdown. This is not a bad idea as you're getting established. Again, on day one, we made our brand system, basically your core offer. If you're just coming out with the offer, which I'm about to do with the new thing I'm doing with my personal brand, launching with the framework discussion is a good idea, because now it's not like, hey, I have a new offer, guys, please buy my stuff. It's like, no, hey, here's the system behind what I'm going to be selling. You don't even have to say that you're selling it. You're just talking about this awesome system. And then within that, it's an easy connection to a call to action. Like, hey, I'm talking about the AI branding framework. Here's the core three aspects of it. We got the content evolution strategy, we got the AI branding blueprint, and we have the standard marketing strategy. And I'm just telling you about this stuff. And then all of a sudden, now you're organically connecting with your audience because they're going to be like, oh, I like that. I like the content evolution strategy. Like, how do I learn more? It's like, oh, you hire me, or you buy the course, or you at least subscribe to the rest of the series because now you're interested. Anyway, so that's how that works. So as you're getting started, I'd say for if you're launching your personal brand, do this first. It helps establish your system, and then people trust it more because when they go look it up online, like, oh, hey, he's talking about the AI branding strategy, blueprint. What the heck is that? Let me check out on Google or check out on Perplexity or whatever AI tool you want to use. They're going to find a bunch of info and they're going to be like, oh, okay, this is real. I like this. And I'm going to game the system. I'm just going to steal and start doing it myself. Great. Have them steal your stuff. They're not going to do it right. And honestly, if somebody's doesn't have the money to pay for it, at least they're learning more about your system. People who do have money to pay for it, which are the clients that you want, they'll say, yeah, oh, I love this thing. I'm ready. Do that stuff for me. Here's money. And this is where the connection with making money comes in. Okay, so I like the AI branding framework breakdown: purpose, establish credibility, and explain your system. Great for educational content, diagrams, long posts, why it works, positions you as the architect of a visionary system. Episode ideas: brand pillars, brand voice versus brand avatar, what the AI marketing department actually looks like, 5 style guides every brand needs, and ethical marketing is an option. It's optional. It's inevitable. This is solid. I like this concept. So, you do need the information behind it. So if you haven't made the system, you do have to do that. But honestly, if you use this process of content creation to make the system, that's cool too. Just do that. There's no issues there. Now, AI is actually saying a lot of stuff I do because I've fed it all into ChatGPT. So if you haven't done a bunch of chats like this, get in there and start doing chats. I need to outline my framework. I need to make the process. I need to, name my ideas. That's how you use AI. You don't have to make it some big complicated thing that you're going to do over a series of months. Just do it. It'll take you like 30 minutes. And then now you get to do the hard work, which is making all the content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I want to do series option 4. Please provide the raw data for the first article in the series. I will use the data to write the article with Claude. We'll see if it gets offended by the fact that I'm taking the data and putting it into Claude. And there you go. Why you should start here. I don't really like this name. It's not, it doesn't explain enough, but even if it's not perfect, just get going with it. You can always ask for more. Now, again, it has all my info. This is why I put so much information on my website, because even if I wasn't doing a bunch of chats with this, all the data is on my website. I can just say, like, check out my website or check out this page where I have the definitions for the system and just use that. And again, I talked about this on a different one. But if nothing else, if you're just like, I can't even write an article yet, I don't have any information, create a dictionary on your website or just a Google Doc or whatever system, Notion, whatever you want to use. Just make a dictionary where you define the terms in your industry. Now, this works for almost any industry that isn't highly technical. So if you're a mathematician, if you're a mechanical engineer, if you're an electrical engineer, if you're in the healthcare space, like those have specific terms that they all agree on. But if you're in like abstract or smaller industries, and marketing is a small industry, but we can't agree on anything, just define the terms yourself. Say, hey, I'm going to define what branding means. I'm going to define what marketing means. I'm going to define what social media management means. Do it. you know? Just make sure you base it on your brand pillars and your brand voice. And then now it's custom. So that's why I came in. That was the first thing I did with the Academy was I made a list of like 100 terms where I'm like, here's what a brand logo is. Okay, let's go and click on that. And now I have a process and I have everything for brand logo. Now, did I write all this stuff? No, but it's in my voice and it uses my system and it's branded for my company. So yeah. Plus, if I tried to run this again, the answer would be completely different. So say whatever you want about having AI create your content. It's just as unique as a person making it for the most part. Anyways, so that's how the system works. So now let me get back into ChatGPT. And now I have all this information. So I'm not even going to check it out. I'm just going to come over to my Claude project. Again, we set this up yesterday. I'm going to say, I want to write the first article in a new content series called, I forget what the series is called. Come back up here. The podcast framework breakdown. Or the sorry, podcast framework, a branding framework breakdown. Copy that, put that there. Here is the information for the first article. Now you might say, like, why did I even mention the series? It's because it's going to remember that. And so the next time I do a prompt within this chat series, it'll know that I'm talking about that same content series. Now I could make a whole project for just the series, and I'll show you how I do that for the other ones that we make at the Academy. But this is the framing of the information. Like, don't assume AI remembers, but also plan on it remembering. Sounds counterintuitive, but this is the best practice here. Okay. So now I told it what the series is, and now I'm going to come to, oh, this is it. This is the article. And don't worry about the title yet, because we'll work on that. Just put all the information in there. So I'm going to come in here, paste all the stuff about the first article, and go. Brand pillars, why you should start here. God, I hate that name. Okay. Ever wonder why some brands feel scattered and inconsistent while others seem to have this magical coherence across everything they do? What if I told you the difference isn't just better design or bigger budgets, but something more fundamental? Here's a provocative thought. Most companies fail at AI-powered content creation before they even start because they've missed the essential foundation that makes AI truly effective. They're trying to build a skyscraper without laying the groundwork first. Blah, 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 blah. Now it does sound like me. That's why I can read it so fluidly. Also, if you do want to read better, just get a teleprompter and start using a teleprompter. It's how I learned how to do that. But anyways, this is a branded article. It incorporates everything I usually talk about. Now I do need to read the article, so don't think that, oh, I don't have to read stuff because, Mark showed me that you don't have to. I'm telling you, you have to review this stuff prior to posting it. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and post this on LinkedIn because why not? Okay. So I have my article. Let's pretend I read through the whole thing. I love it. Looks good. So now I'm going to go ahead and I love the blah, blah, blah part. You know what? Blah, blah, blah helps. It fills in the blank. So I don't have to keep on explaining everything. All right. So now I'm going back to LinkedIn. Now, if you don't, I'm using LinkedIn here because it's a simplistic way of creating a newsletter. If you've never had a newsletter before, using this method will help you get started. Because if you think like, okay, no, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to build a website, get my blog started, put up the article, optimize the article, create graphics for it, blah, 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 blah. It's going to take you months to get going. So using this method, you can start today, which I recommend that you do. So I'm in LinkedIn here. All you have to say is write article. Boom. I'm in the system. Now you can see here, I have a few different brands, and this is going to go to what I call the Future of Content and Us series. It's just something, this is where I put all of my articles. If you're doing this for the first time, then you could say manage and you'll see newsletter, and you might have to say create newsletter. So you're going to say, again, I'll walk you through the process. You're in LinkedIn. Write article, manage, create newsletter. So that's going to be what we do. So I'm going to go ahead and create a newsletter. I'll just show you how to do it. Okay, newsletter details, newsletter title. I'm going to call this the future of branding and AI. And again, if you don't know what to call it, just go back to your chat that's loaded with your brand pillars and ask it like, hey, if I'm going to do a newsletter on LinkedIn, what should I call it? Boom, it'll just give you the information. Okay, how often do you want to publish? I'm going to say weekly. I recommend at least weekly. If you really want to get going and you're like, I'm going to learn this, go ahead and do it daily. There's really no such thing as too much content. I've had that argument for decades now. And no, just do more. It'll let the stupid system figure it all out. Okay, newsletter description. In this newsletter, Mark DeGrasse, founder of AI Branding Academy. Use your biggest creds. So I'm going to say founder of AI Brand Academy and former president of digitalmarketer.com. Discusses, yeah, I use too much stuff. I'm just going to say Mark DeGrasse. And again, you don't have to write this. Just have AI do it if you're not sure what to write. I'm going to say Mark DeGrasse discusses future of AI use in content generation and branding strategy. That's fine. Upload image, recommended image size. You can do whatever image size you want. If you've never done a photo shoot, and this is again a personal branding tip, do a photo shoot. I have some AI images there. I don't recommend using AI images unless you absolutely have to, because that's probably the least genuine thing you could do is be like, and here I am, sort of. Do something that's a picture of you. So I'm gonna put that. Now, if you do the pictures good enough, people will think they're AI, which they think I'm AI half the time. I'm like, no, I'm not yet. Okay, so I'm gonna say done. And so now I just created a new newsletter. Yay, I did it. So now I could say, okay, create new edition. Or I'm gonna say write article. And now I'm here in this. And I do have to select the right one. I think it still says future of content us. And it doesn't have my new thing. I just said that. I don't know why it's doing that. Stupid LinkedIn. Future branding. Okay. So if it does that, just refresh it and then hopefully you get that. The future branding and AI. And now we have this. Now upload article or upload video or sorry, picture 1920 by 1080. A few different options here. I'm not going to get super into graphic production, but I'm going to show you how to use Midjourney real quick. So Midjourney, you can actually use two different methods. The Discord server, much more detail, a lot more customization, or you could use the midjourney.com version, which is simpler, but still pretty effective. Now, I have a standardized prompt that I use for this. And if you're interested in creating your own standardized prompt, we have a tool called, actually, I'm just going to give you a link to this. It's called the Midjourney Prompt Generator. Currently, I'm going to make a GPT for it, but I'll just give you the Excel sheet for it. Midjourney Prompt Generator. And what this does is it allows you to standardize how you create prompts, specifically for Midjourney, but you can use it for almost anything. I'll put that in the chat. There you go. All right. So go ahead and go through this, get your standardized prompt, and then stick with it. That's the trick. And most the way I did this is everything I do is supposed to be a practical approach for laymen, which is why I put mood. So instead of saying like, hey, choose your art style and choose all this different stuff that you probably don't understand, you just put your thing. You put confidence or calmness or whatever you're trying to convey with your brand, just select that. But you have to stick with it because what this does is it creates all of the contrast, exposure, a whole bunch of all these artistic elements by just selecting a mood. And I did this by researching how videographers and photographers look at visualization and then just translate that using the mood as the driver. Okay, so I'm going to say excitement. Let's go excitement. And then here is where you would put the description for what you're doing. Now I'm trying to describe, why you should start with branding first. And if you're like, I don't know, how do you describe branding? just ask AI. So I'm going to go back to where I generated the raw content for the article. I'm going to say, create a lifestyle image description that would embody the article and grab the attention of the best target, or I'm just gonna say the target audience. Again, the thing I skipped when I started this chat was I didn't load my brand pillars, and the brand pillars know what everything is, but I'm just going to grab the attention of business managers. Now, most of the time it goes way too detailed, which we don't like. A sleek modern workspace bathed in natural light. A confident manager in their 30s or 40s stands at a whiteboard filled with structured notes and icons representing brand elements, voice values, vision, avatars on the laptop screen, open prompt, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I'm just going to grab this first sentence right here. I'm going to come into midjourney.com. I'm going to paste. Now, you can't use Midjourney for free, but you have to use the Discord server. I'm not going to do that right now. But that's pretty much it. Now, if you use the settings, if you have this open, you do want to make sure that 16:9, this is going to give you the 1920 by 1080 dimensions that you're looking for. Stylization, don't go crazy with this. It's basically giving creative license to the AI, and it will get weird. Or you can up the weirdness. Don't use either one of those. You get inconsistent imagery. And then pretty much that's all you need to do. I would keep stylization, give it a little freedom, but go ahead and use that there. That is pretty quick. Now, if you're unsure, I'm gonna show you what to do. If you're like, I want to create something neat, I don't know what I want, blah blah blah. Go to explore. And so explore what you could do is find an image that you like. So I'm going to say, oh, well, I like a certain artwork style. I want it to be, really neat. I want it to grab attention for what I'm trying to do. So let me go ahead and just find an image that already does that, right? So let's go ahead and say, let me just grab, okay, I like this. I kind of like that, illustrative style. And I'm like, how do I make an image like this? You rip it off. Yeah, you do. That's what I'm telling you to do. But you're going to modify it. And just know that AI will never generate the same image twice. I can use the exact prompt and it will not do it again. And it'll probably look pretty different. So I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to say copy prompt. And now I can just feed that into the system. So top-down view of a man resembling Austin Butler, trying to get up, legs extended, wearing a gray jacket, blah, 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 blah. What I really want is I want the information about the image itself. So once you get past all this stuff, what it looks like, you'll get to what the image actually created, which is bold black outlines, vibrant flat colors, highly contrasted character, quick sketch style, plain white background, highly detailed, urban futuristic aesthetic. This is what you want. So if you want to create an image that's similar to this, but not this, that's all you have to copy. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to copy that. You go to create. So here's the image that was created. It kind of says it. So it's kind of boring though. So if I copy this again, so now I'm giving it back. Here's all the information about the image that I want. And then I'm going to paste the information from the picture that I like. And now I'm going to say enter. And now we'll see what it makes. Because it does convey it like, oh, you need brand pillars, and here's a guy looking at branding elements, and maybe somebody would connect with that. Let's see what the more entertaining. Now, the fact that I did all that stuff means that when I do the rest of the newsletter, I want to maintain that style. Because what you're trying to do is when somebody's scrolling a million different things, you want them to be like, oh, I remember I liked an article that had that similar style. Maybe this is that person again. There you go. Now this isn't as bold. I do like these better, because that looks like, okay, this guy looks confident in what he's doing. That's pretty cool. Not as dramatic as I wanted, but whatever. I do like the angle. The fact that it has this little plant in there, like it's more cinematic, I would call it. And so that's pretty cool. I like that. And now if this is close but not no cigar, then what I do is I just do the vary. So you can say very subtle, very strong, and it'll create another 4 variations, and then you can choose from there. I'm going to assume like, okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to copy this image. Or I'm sorry, yeah, save it. Save image. There we go. I'm going to come back into LinkedIn. I'm going to upload the image. There we go. Now, I do want a description. Oh, no, that doesn't let you do that. If you're doing this as a post, then you want to do that. Let's say next. Come back into Claude, brand pillars, why you should start here. I don't like that title, so I'm going to say, please give me 5 title options that are more dramatic and instantly appealing to business managers. Brand pillars, the missing foundation that's killing your AI marketing strategy. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Why your AI content fails, the brand pillars emergency you're ignoring, the brand pillars revolution, build the foundation, or watch your AI marketing collapse. Unlock the AI advantage, why brand pillars are your most powerful competitive weapon. Stop wasting your AI budget, the brand pillars framework that changes everything. I like that because everybody's worried about budget, right? Everybody likes AI. So this is actually what the brand pillars are supposed to do. It's supposed to make all of your AI use more effective, just by giving it your brand specs before you do anything. So I'm going to keep that one. I come in here, paste my title, come back, grab my article, copy, and paste. And there you go. And you can see when you do that, it keeps the formatting, which is really nice. The only thing I might add to this is if I want to put some pictures in there, like let's say, I like it, but I want this to feel more, like it's part of a greater piece. Like I spent more time than I'm acting like, or I'm actually spending on it. I could come back into create, and I can actually load the picture in and use it as a stylistic direction. So if I come in here, I say add images, I'm going to drop this in there. Ooh, style references. That's what I wanted. Oh, that's a new feature. That's super cool. Okay, so now I can get rid of that. So now it's going to actually reference that, and I'm going to have it reference the character as well. Oh, this is so cool. There are codes you could do this using the Discord component, but this they just added it. That's that's pretty neat. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to say this. Actually, since it's already pulling the style, I'm just going to say what I want it to do. I'm going to say happy business manager looking at his logo inside a fancy office. So now what I did was I loaded that first picture for the AI to reference. So it's referencing both the character in the picture and then the style of the image itself. So we'll see how close it gets. I've tried many different methods of keeping characters consistent, and this might be it. We'll say, looks similar. Screwed up the style a little bit, but it definitely looks like the same character. Man, they haven't nailed it yet, because this is actually sort of it. This looks like a more realistic version. Not perfect, but it's getting there. I don't care. We're gonna do it anyways. All right, so I'm gonna save that. Come in here, and this is where you kind of up level. We're trying to up level our content, right? So the more pictures you put in here, the more graphics, the more information, the better. So I'm gonna make a little line there, and I'm just gonna add a picture of different style version. I'm breaking a bunch of rules here, but whatever. And voila, we got an article. Now, I don't have any subscribers, but if I had subscribers, like I think I have 1,100 on my other newsletter, they would instantly see this. So it crosses that barrier of like, oh, is it organically showing my content? It's like, no, it's showing it to the subscribers. So at least people are getting it. So now I say next. And now you need to write a post about the article you just posted. So I'm going to come back into Claude and I'm going to say, please write a LinkedIn description that promotes this article. Start with a strong hook in Mark DeGrasse's voice and style. Then create a short summary of why business managers should read this article. I selected, and don't forget to tell it, title 5 for the article. Stop wasting your AI budget. The brand pillars framework changes everything. Is your company dumping thousands into AI tools while creating generic mediocre content in return? Here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not the AI that's failing you, it's the lack of a proper foundation. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna copy all that. Come in here, paste. Do, do, do. Now, this does sound like me. I know what I sound like. And this is what you're trying to discover yourself. And you want something that, is identifiable. Because if you find that like, oh, it's making generic crap and I gave it my article, you might need to upgrade your style. But that's fine. That's something you can work on. I just know I'm flying through this. I should check it. I should do all this stuff, but I'm lazy and that's good enough for me. Publish. And voila, I just created an article, I created a newsletter, I created a LinkedIn post, I created a bunch of imagery, and I did it all in the period of this workshop. So you can too. So go ahead and check out the tools in the comments and give it a shot. Let me know if you start your newsletter. If you do start your newsletter, when I post about this workshop series, feel free to share it. I want you guys using the tools and promoting them. I have no problem if you do that. Don't be too self-promotional, but if you're like, hey, I tried the technique and here's the article I came in with, let me know what people think. Great. That's completely acceptable. So if you need some attention to your personal brand, then give this a shot. It's fun, it's easy, and again, you're talking about volume. Now, ideally, you should take that article, put it on your website too, optimize it for SEO, do all that fun stuff, and then you'll get the benefit. But when you share, say you have a newsletter, like an email newsletter, send them to the website. Don't send them to LinkedIn. The LinkedIn is just to get LinkedIn traffic and ideally convert them into email subscribers. We'll talk more about that next time. But now you've written an article, during this process over the last few days, we've created your system, we've created your brand, we've now created multiple articles, and now you've created a newsletter to get exposure on LinkedIn. Which if you're a business professional, like you have to do this. It's kind of a credibility play. So, I talk about get people to your website. It's still helpful. And that's really what we're trying to do here. All right, team, give it a shot. Try to get this done. We're almost done with this workshop series, and I'd love to see you guys get your brands off the ground by the time it's over. Tomorrow, we're going into we're going to talk about marketing or performance marketing and networking. Networking is core to your success. And it all starts pretty simply. Show up to meetings. If you're in a metropolitan area, I'm in Austin, chamber meetings, but honestly, I'm just going to show you how to go through Meetup and say like, hey, here's people I can connect with. How do I get out there? Now, if you're an introvert or you're somebody who's shy, too bad. This is just a business skill. You had to learn a bunch of stuff that you didn't like for business. Networking is another component. Who cares? Figure it out. It's going to be part of the future. So don't be lazy and scared. It's just something you got to do. All right, team. I will see you next time, and we'll be back tomorrow. I think we're doing 11 a.m. Central again, and then I keep on saying I'm going to share the links, but I'm getting that done today. So look for the links. It'll go to the website. You may have to sign in as a user, so just keep that in mind. But I'll make sure that this, at least temporarily, is part of the free membership. Go ahead and grab one of those if you don't already have it, and that's going to be at aibranding.academy.